Good morning. My name is Molly McHugh. I'm your service coordinator today. It's wonderful to see you all here today. As we embrace this month the theme this month is interdependence. To quote Leon from our July 6th service, I see you, I hear you, I need you. Welcome as we come together as an interdependent community. Our minister, Reverend Leon Dunkley, will be giving the reflection today. Announcements. There are lots of things going on at North Chapel each week. Please take the time to read the many announcements in your order of service. You can also visit the church website for more up-to-date information. And Mary, I think you had something too.
Good morning. That was a perfect intro. We see you, we hear you. So next Sunday will be a special Sunday when we want to see you and hear from you. We're doing a strategic plan on the board, and we've been talking about what we want for the church, and we want to hear from you. So we'll be in small groups. So we'll just listen to your thoughts. And you'll get a maple creamy. We have. I'm picking up the machine from Silver Lake Syrup before the service on Sunday, and the creamy machine says it makes 50 to 80 creamies. So kids, tell your parents about the creamies so that they'll all come. And secondly, you probably saw the sandwich board outside. And Sarah and I both talked about the Oneness Global Summit that's been going on in the backyard for the last 2 nights. There's one more night today. I've been doing it from 6 to 9 in the morning online because I'm an early to bedder. And it was a fabulous session today. So if you have any interest, my guess is we're going to be inside this evening because I think it's going to be rainy. But if you have any interest, come at 5:30 to hear a short kirtan with Pure Kirtan, and then stay for the video. Thanks, or the Zoom.
There's another announcement coming up this week in recognition of John Lewis's birthday last Thursday. The Tribu Park Resistance Group is showing the movie Selma on Thursday, the 24th, at the Town Hall Theater. People are gathering beforehand at 6:30 to have a discussion, drinks, and fellowship, and the film begins at 7:30. Are there any other announcements that haven't been listed or spoken? Okay. Tatum is leading the Kids Club for our youth today. Thank you, Tatum. Coffee hour will be downstairs, which is a wonderful time to visit with each other after the service. Please stay and enjoy each other's company. 10 minutes after coffee hour begins, those who are interested can meet in the parlors to continue our discussion of the Deadlock series that Leon introduced 2 weeks ago. You want to add more to this, Leon?
I just want to add 2 things. One is that the film Selma features a very brave, a very heroic Unitarian minister named James Reeb. James Reeb was one of the people who went down to Selma at the time and was standing for the rights that were consistent with the values of his church. And he stood for those rights, and he gave his life in Selma at that time. The story of James Reeb is in the movie, but they don't call him a Unitarian minister. So I've written the writers several times to complain. But he is a hero, and it's a wonderful movie. The Deadlock series is a PBS documentary. It's organized by 2 justices of the Supreme Court, Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Justice Amy Coney Barrett, 2 women who think very differently about the world. And they present a series of ethical dilemmas. What would you do in this circumstance and with this kind of thing at stake? It fosters a good conversation. We had about 20 people in the room last week, and we got through 1 of the 9 scenarios, just to show you how good. So please come. You don't have to have seen it last week to have been there 2 weeks ago in order to attend. I look forward to seeing you.
If you're visiting from nearby, we would love to have you sign the guest book at the back of the church. If you are visiting from overseas, you need to come up here right now.
Should I be over here?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Hi, my name is Jared Rock. I've been actually attending services from overseas for about 5 years now. I'm from the area, from the Upper Valley. My permanent address is in Hanover. And I actually grew up the first 5 years of my life right here in Woodstock before my family moved to New Hampshire. But I've spent my entire adult life overseas in Ecuador, Lebanon, Korea, and now in Spain, where I live in Madrid. It's nice to be here.
These are all the people that you don't get to see when you're looking at my face.
Right, yeah. The other side of the camera.
It's so good to see you here.
Good to be here.
I've been thinking about this month's theme, interdependence, and it brought me back to a time in the early 1980s when I lived in Marblehead, Massachusetts. I attended a very liberal Episcopal church that introduced me to the Joseph Campbell Power of Myth series and a movement called Beyond War and several other things. It was a very cool church. Has anyone ever heard of Beyond War? It's old. It's morphed into a new name, I found out when I looked it up on Wikipedia. The philosophy of Beyond War is we are one. To me, this means we are all one together, sharing this planet where I'd like to imagine there are no country borders, no fences, just one planet housing us all together as one. The Beyond War guiding principles are war is obsolete. We are one on this planet. The means are the ends in the making. The core practices are I will resolve conflict. I will not use violence. I will maintain an attitude of goodwill. I will not preoccupy myself with an enemy. I will work together with others to build a world beyond war. In a time when these concepts seem further than ever from our reality, rather than give up, we must strengthen our interdependence and continue to work on these principles in order to work together as one. The following is a poem called The Power of One by Ashish Ram. One song can spark a moment. One whisper can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest. One bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship. One moment can make one fall in love. One star can guide a ship at sea. One word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation. One sunbeam lights a room. One candle wipes out darkness. One laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey. One word must start each prayer. One hope will raise our spirits. One touch can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what's true. One life can make a difference. You see, it's up to you.
Open up. and trust in something bigger until the miracle happens. When I was a boy, each week, on Sunday, we would go to church and pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today, the only difference is that everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time that Moses split the sea in two and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track because everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. And so the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. And now I walk it with a reverent air because everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That would be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. And I'll tell you that that can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head, and I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-downs, and now I walk it with a reverent air, because everything is holy now. Good morning and good Sunday. I hope that this new day finds you well. Today is July the 20th, and the title of this morning's reflection is Holy Now, an uneventful service about average miracles that happen every day. Do you believe in miracles? I believe in miracles, and I want to know if I'm alone in this. Before you answer, though, we should probably define the word. According to the dictionary, a miracle is a surprising and welcomed event that is explicable neither by the natural or the scientific laws. Such an event is, therefore, considered to be a work of divine agency. A miracle is a highly improbable or extraordinary event, development, accomplishment that brings very welcome circumstances. Do you believe in miracles? This is a fairly decent definition. It makes room for the inexplicable and the improbable and the extraordinary, but it lacks a little something for me. The laws of nature and science are as logical as the rules of deductive reasoning, the ones that were demonstrated by Sherlock Holmes. Holmes, of course, was a famous detective from the 19th century, from fiction. He was born beneath the pen of the great Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Holmes had a rule that he always followed, and it was like an unbreakable law for him. He always used it, and he always returned to its values, and he recited its merits. Do you know what it is? Holmes always said, once you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. I like this a lot. Spock from Star Trek likes this a lot. It makes us smile, it makes us breathe a little easier, it makes room for the impossible. It acknowledges the impossible in a way that the dictionary definition does not. The dictionary definition makes room for the inexplicable, the improbable, and the extraordinary, but it fails to make any room for the impossible. It says nothing about the impossible. Sherlock Holmes and Spock make just a little bit of room for the impossible, and that little bit of room really matters. There's a song that's called A Big Mistake by David Wilcox. It doesn't make room for the impossible. It tends towards the dictionary definition that I read earlier. I like the song, but I don't love it. And I'm pretty sure I know why. The song doesn't make room for the impossible, and I think I need the impossible. I think I really need that. My soul needs it. The first verse goes like this. They taught us kids in school between the recess breaks that the universe just sort of fell together like a big mistake. It started with a bang that sent the pieces flying, and then it cooled and twirled into dinosaurs and dandelions. It's clever and it's cute, but I don't find it miraculous. It goes on to say, now back in science class, through the looking glass, we were magnifying little ancestors of our ancient past. We watch them break a couple of chromosomes and we wait a zillion years or so, and you get an ostrich, a jellyfish, a kangaroo, and a Romeo. The verses are just so matter-of-fact and quaint, too matter-of-fact, I think. The chorus gets us closer, but in ironic and mundane ways. The artist writes, it was a big mistake to have eyes that see, to have love like this inside of me, to have lips that smile as I swim your kiss, to have minds that will remember every part of this. All the moonlight shrouded in the clouds above, and the autumn leaves and the falling love, and the still reflection in the moonlight lake, and all, they said, it was a big mistake. It gets us closer, but we're still not there. The story of the miracle is just not the same as the story of the lucky accident. The idea of the impossible made real for reasons that are unavailable to us and for us is so much more compelling than the idea of a meaningless coincidence, which might just be the truth. I acknowledge that. The big mistake theory of the lucky accident doesn't make me feel like we're special. The impossible made possible, that makes me feel special. Maybe it's just me, but I long for the impossible made possible somehow. I like the mystery. I'm drawn to the mystery. I figure if we're going to talk about miracles, then we should use something bigger than logic. Logic puts cell phones together. I need something more than that. We need something deeper than deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning helps you to figure out how to wash your laundry. I long for spirit more than the dictionary definition. I long for spirit even more than Sherlock Holmes and Spock. In the gospel, Jesus turns water into wine, not by recipe, not by formula, not by design, not by the laws of science or nature. Jesus made water wine by way of miracle and mystery. So we're going through a lot these days, right? Even if one is doing an excellent job of artfully avoiding the news, awareness of what's happening in the world around us is inescapable. And logic and deductive reasoning simply aren't doing the trick. We aren't simply going to think our way out of our current crises. We might just laugh our ways out, although they did just cancel Colbert and Sesame Street. We might sing our way out of this, or love our way out, I have faith in that, or manifest the joyful and the beautiful wisdom that will feel like a miracle to us. This joyful, beautiful wisdom is commonplace. It's normal, and it's a natural human process, but it seems like it's not happening because our heads are in the sand sometimes. It seems it is happening for sure, but we can't see it. Because our heads are in the sand sometimes, we tend to miss the miracle that way. It's easy enough to fix, but it might seem pretty hard for us. It seems like we need a little bit of miracle sometimes, because just a little bit of miracle would really do us some good, would go a long way. Because we need something cooler than clever and cute. We need something better than the impossible, something bigger than turning water into wine, which is already a pretty big deal. It's no small thing. It's a really big deal. But these days, we're going to have to go for more. Another artist writes, "Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one." Peter Mayer wrote these words. It flips the script on the definition, the dictionary definition of the miracle. It opens something beautiful inside. We need to reach for something more than far-out miracles these days, but perhaps the goal is closer than we think. We don't need longer arms to reach, and we don't need stronger hands to grasp. I think we need to find a better sense of balance. Years ago, I was in North Carolina. It was hot like this in North Carolina. Is it me, or is it just really hot in here? Is it possible to turn on those fans above us? Years ago, when I was living in North Carolina, I got into the practice of making cairns. You know what cairns are, right? Cairns are piles of stones, purposeful piles of stones. They signal danger or they issue warnings. Thank you, Anne. They are sepulchral monuments marking sites of ceremony and sacred burial. The predecessor of what we now have as the modern headstone, I think, was the cairn. Building cairns has been a human practice for centuries. I urge you to try it. It's awesome. With cairns that I was building, it was different. I was less practical. I was more artistic. I was less purposeful. I just liked balancing stones. It was fun, but I wasn't signaling danger. I wasn't issuing a warning for anybody. I was just having fun balancing stones and doing it uniquely. With like a holy kind of permission. I balanced stones as carefully, as precariously as I could. It just felt like something else was helping me. I would ask for help from spirit and the balancing process would begin. It didn't always work. I couldn't always find this balance. I couldn't always find that balance within myself. The cairns would just fall down when I wasn't balanced within myself. Or they wouldn't last for very long. It became a regular meditation for me. I made cairns, and I wrote poetry about making cairns. Both the cairns and the poems were mediocre and miraculous. They were outwardly mediocre, but they were inwardly miraculous. The joy was in the doing, not in the product, not in the end result. It's not important to make art that you can sell about inward experience akin to prayer. You can if you want, but that's not the point. I learned so much back then. I was so amazed to learn about what average stones can do. Average stones can perch if you ask them to and if spirit allows. I'm still amazed by this. Poets pile words around miraculous things. They pile rhythmic and rhyming words around the uniqueness of everything, the specialness of every leaf on every tree, the specialness of every hair on every head, even hairless heads, because all of us are special and because all of us are unique, and it's just exhausting to think like that. Miracles are exhausting. To notice and to care about every little thing, it's a religious experience, but it's hard. In a song called Every Grain of Sand, Bob Dylan writes, in the time of my confession, in the hour of my deepest need, when the pool of tears beneath my feet floods every newborn seed, there's a dying voice within me, reaching out somewhere, toiling in the dangers and the morals of despair. I don't have the inclination to look back on any mistake. Like Cain, I now behold this chain of events that I must break. In the fury of the moment, I can see the Master's hand in every leaf that trembles and in every grain of sand. Is this your understanding of the holy? That the holy has placed a sacred signature on all trembling leaves and all grains of sand, not on some, but on all. Dylan writes, I gazed into the doorway of temptation's angry flame, And every time I pass that way, I'll always hear my name. And then onward in my journey, I come to understand that every hair is numbered, just like every grain of sand. Is this your understanding of the holy? Do you believe that every hair is numbered? There's absolutely a fabulous movie. Actually, can I get your help? You guys, can you pass there are 2 envelopes here? Can you make sure everybody gets there's a fabulous movie entitled 21 Grams. A lot of people don't like this film. Don't open your envelope, by the way. The secret of the universe is in there and it has to be opened at the right time. There's an absolutely fabulous movie called 21 Grams. A lot of people don't like this film because it's a story that's told out of sequence. It's confusing. It's a story that's not all tied up and neatly delivered to us. It doesn't fit into a simple package. It's abstract, it's symbolic, it's raw, it's impenetrable sometimes. I absolutely love it. I think it's fabulous. Sean Penn, Naomi Watts, Benicio del Toro. Sean Penn plays a character named Paul, the main character. And in soliloquy, Paul muses about the title of the film, 21 Grams. He says, how many lives do we live? How many times do we die? They say that we all lose 21 grams at the exact moment of our death. Everyone. Think about that. Everyone. Democrats and Republicans. Liberals and conservatives. Gay folks and straight people. Northerners and Southerners alike. Thank you. Everyone. Paul asks, how much fits into 21 grams? How much is lost? When do we lose 21 grams? How much goes with them? How much is gained? How much is gained? 21 grams, the weight of the stack of 5 nickels, the weight of a hummingbird, or a chocolate bar. Paul, Sean Penn's character, is not the only wise one in the movie. Benicio del Toro plays a character named Jack Jordan. Jack is deeply Christian. In his youth, he had seen his share of troubles, more than his share actually. Since then, he has straightened up and straightened out. He's found Jesus, and he took a job working at a home for troubled youth, giving back the very gift of care from which he benefited in life. Jack is working with a young man named Nick, teenager, who is far along the way to becoming a thief. Jack tries to show Nick the righteous way. Jack says, stealing ain't worth it. Going to church and reading the Bible and believing in Jesus, brother, that's your ticket. Nick snickers, turns away. He doesn't want to hear the good news about Jesus. So Jack presses him. He says, you think this is a fantasy, right? Come here, man. And they go sit by the window. And he said, do you see that truck out there? It's a beauty, isn't it? I won that truck in my friend's raffle. And do you know what? It wasn't luck. It was Jesus who wanted me to have that truck. Nick thinks it's all BS. And some of us do too. He thinks that Jack probably stole the truck. Sometimes it's hard for people to take the ministry of Jesus seriously. We resist, and often for good reasons, sometimes for terrible reasons too. There have been times in my life when taking the ministry of Jesus seriously was very hard for me, so I can identify with both characters. I understood that it was hard for Nick. He just couldn't take it in. He rejects the whole Jesus idea. He says, yeah, right, Jesus doesn't care about us. And Jack gets angry, and he pulls Nick aside to admonish him, to take him down a peg, and he says, take off that hat. And Nick does. And Jack says, God even knows when a single hair moves on your head. Jack is a true believer. What do you believe? Not what do you say you believe when the subject comes up at parties, but what do you believe when your back is against the wall? When the lives of loved ones are at risk. I had a friend in Minnesota who sort of was a Christian by background, and he trained in seminary as a Christian, and he entered a Unitarian Universalist church and became an intern. And he had built a crucifix, a cross, out of clay, and had kilned it, and it was in his room. And when he entered the Unitarian Universalist church, he accidentally dropped the cross, and it broke on the floor. And he called it "My Jesus in Pieces." And he said, I said, "Why do you keep it?" And he said, "Just in case." Just so we know and we're clear, Unitarian Universalist comes out of the Christian tradition. It's not a non-Christian faith. It has moved to see during the 19th century, through a period called the Transcendental Movement, that the holy was expressed all around the world in many, many, many different ways, including excellent Christianity. And it's the excellent expression of faith that is the core of Unitarian Universalism. The bad theology that sends us away from what is precious to us isn't good for any of us. So that's just an aside. I'm a little bummed that Will and Jane are here, because I'm more shy to say this with you in the room. But one of the most meaningful experiences in my life was taking off my 3rd name tag from the Brave Light Youth Exchange, which we've done now for 3 years, 3 successful years, and putting it on this hanger in my bedroom. And I did that, and I just wept. I could almost weep now. But to create a story for the people that are on that program and for the people who are not on that program is such a beautiful gesture for a community of people to do. So if you're having trouble finding miracles, they're usually sitting right next to you.